I have to get, we are like a lot of the conversation is happening like, is Georgia becoming a blue state rather than a swing state? Because Georgia is like tend to vote for blue for 2 or 3 elections. But one thing we need to know, that was our prediction, but this election we have seen that Donald Trump really owned almost all the swing states as well, right? So the assumption that we had is Georgia becoming blue is not that right as well, right? So this thing just keeps just changing. These are like not a, these are fluid things more like, not like a strong idea, right? Couple of characteristics about swing states, right? There are balance of both Democrat, Republican, independent voters. One thing that we need to know is that if you are in blue state or red state, there is a tendency that you are, like you have always voted for one party. You have party allegiance, right? You are probably registered as a Democrat or probably registered as a Republican. But something that like you'll see a lot if you go to swing states, that a lot of the people say, I don't have really strong preference, I will see what happens. Like let's see what happens. So like these people we call independent voters who do not have any party allegiance, who vote based on the policies that party is implementing, who vote like if it's a good thing for me or for a state as a whole, right? So these are the people we call independent voters. The number of independent voters is like more higher in swing states compared to all the other states that you can find, and that is the reason they are blue states and red states, right? That's specific party allegiance, right? These places also have high voter engagement. As I already mentioned, that they determine the election outcomes, right? Because these states are so important, every elector spends most of their time and money and resources in campaigning in these 7 states. So like if you go to New York, you will not see like Trump or Harris like doing a lot of campaign, because they know that they are not gonna probably, like they know that it's gonna always go for like Democrats. Like for example, and that contrary to Texas will always go for Republican in most cases, right? So the battleground states that we call in US election is these 7 states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and North Carolina, right? So these are one of the things that comes up to debate like a lot. We talk about swing voters and swing states. Like, what if this motion passes? What will happen to swing voters? How they will react if this motion doesn't pass? How it will have an effect on like swing voters as well, right? Oh, couple of terms by the way. Do any of you know these 2 terms, gerrymandering and filibuster? Yeah, go on. Yeah. That's gerrymandering. Anyone know what filibuster is? Like these are the terminology often comes when you are trying to like understand US politics, because if you follow US politics via newspaper, these are the terms that you're gonna see, right? So what gerrymandering means? Essentially what he says exactly, manipulating maps. So for example, how do I like convey this idea? So if a state has district, right? Each state also has district. So each district has a boundary, right? So if the state, let's just say there are 2 districts of a state, right? One state has 50% or like 40% people who are voting red, 60% people are voting blue, i.e. Democrats, right? The second district of that is also doing the same, 40-60 in both cases. Now, if I start to redraw the line, the 40% of the people who did vote for me in A state, if I can redraw and make it in a way that those 40% also come to the B area, right? Now what we have, people who are in A state, who are voting not like for me, probably did not have any value, right? Because 60% people's vote were counting, 40% people vote were not counting. But the fact that now this 40% is on my side, the proportionality goes even higher. So which means now I have this state. Yeah, I probably don't have that state, so I'm ready to lose that electoral vote. But now I specifically have the B state, because B state map has been redrawn in a way that both those who are not being counted in A state are now mine. which means now I have all the electoral vote of that specific district, right? This is what we call gerrymandering. It happens in decade where the district maps are redrawn. This is something that's like issue in US politics as well. Like people are doing gerrymandering in a way that benefits them politically. Secondary, what we call is filibuster. Filibuster is something that what we call in supermajority, right? You need to have 2/3 vote in Congress to pass any law, which means like if there are people 100 and 100, like if there are like in Senate, if you have 100 people, you cannot just win any specific policy by 51. You need probably 60 to 65. That is what we call 2-3 proportionality. That is what we call filibuster. Okay. Do any of you have any question? Everything's clear? To basic boring like this. It is boring. I know it's very academically like intensive to some extent to understand all of those things. Let's talk about presidential election then, right? And we'll have a lot of conversation about Trump. Okay, so like people who hate Trump, you're like, why are we having so much conversation about Trump? Trump is something that we are having a conversation about for the past 15 years. He's gonna be very influential in the next 10 years as well. Nothing we can do. We all have to have this conversation, right? Okay. Presidential election then. US has a very different way of doing this like democratic system. What we call electoral college system. What happens essentially is that like what happens in Bangladesh as well. Whoever has the majority in parliament in Bangladesh, i.e. whoever wins those votes from those districts, makes the government. So if I have, let's say 100 from 100, I have 51 people who voted for me, I am the president, I am the prime minister, etc., etc. This is not what happens in US. They have something called electoral college system, right? So essentially you have 538 electorals, from which probably 435 is like proportional to what happens in lower house, aka Congress, 100 senators, and then 3 is for Washington DC, right? So each state gets a number of electors. The benefit we'll talk about why is it like this way, why is it not the way we do. There is a justification behind that as well. Each state gets a number of electors equal to its congressional delegation. As I said, California has 54, Wyoming has 3. One thing we need to know is that California has 54. Wyoming has just 3 electorals. Why is that? Can anyone guess why?
Because California has more influential on socially active.
You're right to some extent, but the reason is California state have more population as a whole. So it happens because California has that much population, we have 54, Wyoming is compared to little that we have 3, right? Secondly, what we need to know, a candidate needs to have 217 electoral votes to win the presidency, right? Okay, moving on. How can someone win the popular vote but lose the election? So like that is a big criticism of this system. System. What happens is that in Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, if you see, Trump did not win the popular vote. By the way, I'm going to tell you what popular vote means. But he still became president because he won the electoral vote, right? So what popular vote means is that like people who win the most amount of vote, right? Exactly what happens in Bangladesh. She vote she's the winner. Simple as that, right? You vote for a party, you vote for a person, he is allegiance to one party, that party makes the government. This is not what happens in US. But by the way, I don't if any of you has like followed this election, Donald Trump won both electoral vote and popular vote in this 2024 election, which is very interesting to notice. Which means his popularity is significantly gone up compared to what it was, even after all the bullshit that he has done to the world, right? Yeah. So why can someone win the popular vote but lose the election? Does anyone have any guess? Like why?
Because in a certain electoral position, because in primary elections, we can win all the
Yes, exactly what you said. So even if you have 49% or 1% of vote in one state, it doesn't matter. You win the whole state as a whole. For example, it will make sense if we start to talk about more. Let's just say unequal weight of votes, right? Which means small states vote in percentage matter more than people who are in big states, right? It's a winner take all systems. Which means that even if in one state you are probably very narrowly close with that person, the fact that the person has the bigger number than you, 51.1%, you have all the electoral vote of that specific state. Does that make sense, guys, to some extent? So let's just say California has a big population. So if less than half of the people have voted for Trump, right? And more than half of the people has voted for Hillary or Democrats, right? Even if it is the case, and let's just say in small states like Wyoming, Trump won. So if you calculate, let's just say Wyoming population plus the people who voted in California for Trump, 49%, it's still a huge number because California is a big state, right? A lot of the people voted from him. So given that is true, you will see, oh, Trump wins on popular, but because he has just certain number of electoral on California, he cannot have those votes. The justification for this is it protects smaller states from big states. Think about it. If popular vote mattered the most, would people go to small states? No. Where the most of the people, the money would have gone to those states. California has the most people, New York has the most people. Everyone would have just come in there, and Chicago has the most people. Everyone would come and just do their campaign there. The reason it exists so that small states also have that advantage, right? So per capita vote of a small state matters 3x more than person who is voting on California. So a person who is on say small states vote is weighed 3x more than the person who is voting in California. The reason is it protects small states, and secondarily, US is a federalism. So what federalism means is that essentially every state is a semi-autonomous. So it means every state has their own law, own policy, even each state has their own different flags as well that they can modify as well, right? If you guys go and see that. Each state has their own congress where they pass law, etc., etc. So because that is true, the election system is also designed where we count state as an entity, not people as an entity. Does that make sense? So each state, we consider each state's vote as a whole, not all the people that are voting. Right? That is one of the principles of federalism. It's called United States, right? So which means every state is us. So if one state votes in a specific way, we will consider that state, not the people. And if you are in one state, your vote will be counted as what all the people of your state voted as a whole. Right? Yeah, so as I mentioned, 2016, Hillary Clinton won California by millions of votes. But Donald Trump narrowly owns similar smaller states, securing more electoral votes overall. So even if you have California has 53, as we have seen, right, electoral vote. If I can win more small states, we have smaller population. And if those combined cumulatively matter more than California, even though those states' population cumulatively is less than California, I still win that. Is this concept clear? I know it's a bit tough concept to visualize and conceptualize, right? And before that, before this workshop started, I told you that it's a little academically intense to understand how US presidential elections work. But I tried to tell you, from this workshop, at least you should know that it's different, and the reason they have given that is so that small states have proportionally better power than big states, even if you don't understand the geeky small details of that, right? Okay. Let's talk about then the rise of far right. Trump mass majority trailer. guys know what far right means? Any of you? Like some vague idea. Yeah, go ahead.
White supremacist, something like that.
One characteristics of far right, yeah. Conservative, yeah. Anyone else? Nazi, neo-nationalist, yeah. Like these tendencies, right? Do you guys think that like new nationalists, like far right parties are on rise globally?
Yes.
Where are they rising? Like in which places that you see that?
India.
India is one.
Recently Afghanistan.
Yeah, Afghanistan is different context, but yeah. Other than that,
Uh,
Europe.
Mostly in the West.
Yes, mostly on the West and India as well. That's something we need to consider. Interestingly, this is one of my research topic as well for this fall 1 or 2 course this semester. That I'm trying to understand why far right is so popular. And I've done like pretty good research about that because I have to write this like paper on that. So you will see that happening in France. You will see that happening in Germany, AfD party in Germany. You will see that happening in Italy as well. That do any of you know Le Pen from France?
So many different.
Yes, Le Pen. Do any of you know what's his name? Italy, the president, or something? Something. I forget. So in each of these countries, even in West, we are seeing that there's a swipe of far right people who are coming to power, and that is very interesting to see that it's just getting even more popular. That like what we thought that whatever the shit that Trump has done after his presidency will definitely he will lose. There is no way he's gonna win, right? He won all the swing states. He won by popular votes as well, which means every prediction that you can make these days is not really right as well to some extent, right? So if far right party is on the rise globally, why do you think so? Do any of you have vague guess like why far right is rising globally?
To be honest, the far right has recently been engaging in more dialect than they have traditionally done. Normally, they're like controversy at least for example, conservative politicians that normally converse with the Shaya debates and they stick to their opinion. They aren't really on keyboard. I mean, ঝগড়া করে আমি lost words. কিন্তু in recent times they've been way more level-headed. They've been way more calm about their approach when talking to people. And overall, in layman's terms, they have just been the chill candidate. So making them a bit more relatable to the general populace.
You or any guess? Actually, by the way, can anyone tell me what is the difference between right and far right? What makes one political group far right? Like, what makes a political group far right compared to right?
If they're extreme.
If they're extreme, yes, one. Secondary, what else?
Natives.
Natives. Interesting idea. Like if they are native of that specific region.
Yeah, not necessarily. Like the American, if you think about the Native Americans, they're native. So the whites, evangelicals are basically the natives right now. So in that sense.
Okay, in that sense, I wouldn't feel comfortable calling white people native of America. No, they are they are exactly the opposite. They are like assassinated, you can say. Okay, yeah. So anything else? Any other case? One is very important. That is extreme than right? Secondarily, they tend to be very populist on nature. What does that mean? Populist on nature is just like they are ruining our country. Have this kind of narrative, shifting the blame to one specific thing, not a policy. Or a policy conversation come correct. If you really look into them, they are gonna say West has lost its like status in the world, right? Germany is being infiltrated by all the immigrants that are coming in. They are taking our jobs. This kind of narrative, like which villainize a certain group, that is also a key characteristic of far right. Right means that you are all political right. That just means that you probably are capitalistic. You love business. you don't really like that much tax on businesses, so you're very business friendly. You want to expand the economy horizon, right? Etc. etc. And you are also conservative, right? You don't really like climate as a whole. That's one thing. And saying that climate change is a hoax, that's another thing. Saying that we are a Christian country, another thing, right? This is what we call far right. There have been an extensive study on terrorism, right? Like what we call like Islamists in Middle East who have that kind of view. Something that we need to note is that this kind of view among Western liberal democracies is also very prevalent among far right countries as well. The difference then is they are democratically elected, and terrorists are like all like Islamist people who are very have extreme view. They probably are not elected, right? That is something interesting. So, how has media amplified far right ideologies? Have any of you have heard the name Fox News? What is it? Tell me. It's already in mathematics, so tell me what is Fox News? Fox News is a YouTube channel. Okay, yeah, that could be. Acha, okay. American media. Right-wing propaganda, right? Anything else? Owned by a right-wing bullshit as well. Media company. Anything else? Do any of you?
I don't know, I get confused Fox and Vice.
Fox and Vice. Now, Vice is a Chinese propaganda. No, wait. Sorry, Vice is a YouTube channel that explains a lot of those things. Experience. Vice is like a box thing, yeah. You have heard about Vox. What he said? It's a propaganda news channel which explicitly do some bunch of lies. Like, I don't know if you guys ever tuned in Fox News. It's difficult to like see whatever they're doing there. They're lying constantly 24/7. Everything. I don't have any problem of if one news outlet has allegiance to one party and they're probably trying to explain it from their point of view. I don't have any problem with that. There are different points of view in the world. Straightforward lying is a whole different thing that Fox News does, and they like extensively push propaganda. But you know what's also interesting? Millennials and boomers of US tune in a lot of Fox News. Fox News is a huge viewer as well. So Fox News has the ability to shape the narrative of US politics. So media is something that we need to be very careful about when we are talking about far right or like Western liberal democracies as well. Media tend to shape the narrative and who is going to come to the power as well. We can talk about like the counterpart of Fox News, which is probably not that far left, but to some extent they are. MSNBC. You guys heard about it? NBC. These are the liberal bubble that we talk about, right? As a whole, Western bubble and media will maximum Western conversation like BBC, but BBC is not like on the context of US politics. BBC is more like from UK. But yeah, so that is that. By the way, do you guys know that there is something that we call assassination culture in US politics? Have you ever heard about it? What do you guys know assassination? What is assassination? Killing someone. Do you guys think the assassination culture is back?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Achha.
Not always.
Okay, not always.
The Trump situation feels like a stunt.
Stunt film.
There is a assassination.
But something that you need to know is that Abraham Lincoln, I think everyone has heard about him, so one of the founding father, right? John F. Kennedy. Kennedy got the There is a school probably of Harvard as well. Kennedy something public policy. Kennedy School of Public Policy and Health Authority. Malcolm X, a black right activist, and Martin Luther King Jr. Everyone knows about that. All of these high-profile people have been assassinated in US in past 100 years. These are really like we are talking about presidents getting assassinated. This is not easy. And after 2000, more or less, we thought that this culture is like dead. This doesn't happen. We are more like civilized right now. We don't do this bullshit anymore, and things are better now. But do you guys think that it is the case? There have been 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. And right now, actual CEO ke assassinate kore. So what is his name again? That guy who is very popular on the internet right now. Luigi, and then what is the other name? How do you pronounce it?
It's kind of French.
What? Mangio, yes, Luigi Mangio. He just killed a very high profile CEO, United Health.
But what's interesting is that he's being hailed. Everyone loves him.
One of our club members gave a story, like how he's the bestest. And then she learned about it, that oh, he's also a new Nazi, he doesn't like immigrants as much. And then she has to believe that. So what's interesting is, this is not something that you used to have, like when I was following, like from, when do I follow US politics from? 2016-17 আমি মানে যতটুকু আমার বোঝা শুনি তো তখন আমি US politics follow করি, more or less. Hillary Clinton presidential election থেকে. How long has it been? Probably 10 years or কাছাকাছি. 8 years এর কাছাকাছি, right? It's not it wasn't a norm, but nowadays we are thinking it's becoming like for past like 2 years এর মধ্যে 1 year এর মধ্যে দুইটা বড় assassination attempt 2024 এ already one president কে দুইবার assassinate করার attempt করা হয়েছে and the other was attempted and has been done. So you can make a reasonable argument on debate is that assassination culture is back. Here are a couple of reasons why is that. You can say economic distress is one of the reasons. Businesses are constantly behaving like jerk, where people are just being used as a means to an end, where people don't have enough like liquid money to survive per day. Minimum wage is constantly stayed for past, I don't know, 50 years. They have not raised minimum wage. But the corporate profit is rising every fucking day. They don't have healthcare. So what other ways we have other than assassinating? Or people like that's like the last step. That's a reasonable argument could be made, right? So assassination culture is something that we are at, right? Oh, by the way, far right, right? Globally.
Alif, let's keep a low on the swearing. Let's not swear.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's what, no swear words. No swear words, guys. I did not do that, you guys did not do that, right? So, you know what interesting? My faculty doesn't even like talk about Donald Trump. That is the exact topic that I selected to talk about. Far right, global. So yeah, there's a very good argument that you cannot talk about far right without speaking service. So like, what? POL 102, Politics 102. I do not recommend to take this very pressure course unless you have like significant interest in politics. You're not suffered about. So, and it's done by a PhD faculty as well. She has a PhD from University of Texas Arlington. So you can get. So what interesting is why I have asked you a question right earlier that what is fueling the far right party globally? One of the things is economics. Everything boils down to economics in most cases. At least what Afsan Chaudhary sir said. Do you guys, any of you know Afsan Chaudhary? He says that everything boils down to economics, right? What far-right parties have essentially been able to do, if there is a certain degree of economical problems, job opportunity, I don't know, like healthcare problem, I don't know, people don't have enough money on bank account, they have been able to shift this narrative to the blame to the people who are outsiders. Or like, these are the problems being caused by A, B, C people, who probably are not the reason to blame. So economics, people are feeling distressed. That is true. Western people are people who are on the lower tier of the bracket of income. They are not probably doing that much well, right? So that is one of the reasons. People are not happy with their economical circumstances. The reason behind could have been another class why like that can be taken by someone who is expert in economics. That what is happening, why people don't feel like they have enough to sustain in West, right? That is what I found in my research, and I'm writing. Secondary is border. Immigrants. Seems like for like 2 decades or something, we thought that Western liberal democracies really love immigrants, right? If you're a good people, if you're a good student, if you have something that you can add to their society, they will accept you. They are immigrant-friendly country, right? Turned out that not everyone in West likes that, and there is an increasing number of people who doesn't like immigration that much. So there is a tendency that you can make an argument or debate that immigration is something that is not being liked by most of the people around the world. So the number of immigrants we are probably going to see less and less, or probably going to be more hostile towards immigrants. People used to be not that much hostile towards immigrants. It's the situation right now. So immigration is one of the reasons why people tend to vote for far right in America, in Europe as a whole, right? And thirdly, these are the things not in slides because that's going to be a huge thing to talk about. That's literally a research paper that I'm writing. Third thing is what we call anti-silent revolution. Do you guys know anything about the silent revolution? It's a term that has been used by I have even never heard about this term unless I started working on this paper. So, silent revolution is post-industrial revolution era, after the World War II has already happened. When people have all their needs met, millennial generation, US economy is booming, right? Extremely US shop economy was boom kora shuru korlo. That if you see the curve of US economy or GDP, it's like booming after post-industrial revolution, post-World War II, right? But that's also the case for Europe as well. That is probably not the case of all the other parts of the world, but that is the case for them. An interesting thing exactly also started to happen at that time. People started to be increasingly more liberal than their previous counterpart. Exactly that time. The reason is when you have food on your plate, when you have a home, when you probably go to a party or probably park you have chill, you don't have anything to worry. Seems like liberal values start to come up in those circumstances as well. Exactly what happened in the US as well. At that time, we have started to see all these movements, Black Lives Matter movement, feminist movement, LGBTQ movements, and then climate change movement. So 1960, 1940, 50, 70, 8 time bracket. The progressive era. The way people characterized West, the values liberal values, progressive values, started to come from those times. That is what we call silent revolution. It did not happen. It gradually happened. Interesting enough, the moment in time silent revolution happened, there is another revolution, what we call anti-silent revolution, the silent revolution in reverse. What that generally means, when this revolution was happening, or this taking place, silent revolution was taking place, there were people who were not so much okay with all this change in culture, all this change in values. Because before that, people were very conservative, right? What is climate? Let's just burn fossil fuels. What is LGBTQ concept? There is just only two genders. Just keep doing that. There is no idea of polynomy or polyamorous marriage or something. Only heterosexuality, heteronormative society. All the ideas were started to be broken by the system, right? Because people were going to more and more to university. I think one thing you guys need to know is that the more people go to universities as a whole, the more people become more liberal, more accepting, more tolerating, not that much hostile. Because that was not the case before World War II, right? People were university that was not industrial revolution that people extensively with this, right? During industrial revolution, people started to go to university, people started to meet different kind of people, etc. New values started to emerge. But that value did not go with a lot of white Christian evangelical base as well. Or Christian as a whole. Evangelical is a part of Christianity, right? Christianity as a whole. People did not like that idea. That we call is anti-silent revolution, right? Or silent revolution in reverse. All of this anger, all of this people who are seeing that all their traditional values have been eroded by these progressive movements, liberal values. is the outcome of what we're seeing right now. And it started very long when people were like, I don't feel comfortable being these new values that are coming. And then exactly at that point of time, there are also very immigration coming as well in West. Right? People were, I don't know if you guys have I was talking with this person, a roommate, Shanta Holdings named a company in It's one of the big real estate company, right? And he graduated from BUDC in 1997. One time he was telling that the trend was the moment in time you graduate from BUDC, you get F1 and you get settled in US. That was the trend. BUDC every time that. Tar classmate jara chilo, 97% of them already shifted to BUDC. He was the only person, and two other person from his batch did not go to US, but they did not settle into US. By the way, he also went to US, studied in Georgia Tech University, and then came back in Bangladesh. So the thing that I'm trying to say that old time thinking, people were very okay, yeah, US is the land of opportunity, let's go there. This is something that not everyone liked, and there are people who are very, very uneasy about it. Like, why this many people are coming to our country? Why this many people are coming to Europe as well? Do you guys know in 2015 there was an immigration crisis. 2015, the Great Immigration Crisis sometimes it's called in Europe. In Europe, as a whole. The reason it happens there's a huge war happening in the Middle East. So places like Libya, Syria, and I don't know, Palestine. Every people were going to Europe and trying to enter it because for humanitarian reasons, not everyone liked it. Simple as that. All of this resentment against liberal parties, liberal values, or blue parties, or every party started to shape the voter base of far right people who doesn't like immigrants as well, right? That is one of the reasons we are saying that. That is one, or out of I gave you three reasons, right? Economics, immigration, and how silent revolution works. And there are a couple of other reasons that you can probably find. And what happened? Charge guest station monitor. Do you guys have charger?
Do you need the slides now?
Because they can visualize it.
So you can carry on.
Yeah, but you should charge it.
It's fine, I'm in college. You can carry on.
Yeah. So, whatever, further, right? So, you can make an argument about any debate about how far right is very popular, what are the reasons, what we can do to solve this problem. If you're making any particular debated government side, so you can just say, hey, we cannot really pass this motion, we cannot do XYZ things because far right is rising globally. This is gonna affect ABC feedback from all of those people, right? That's a reasonable argument to make regarding far right. Yeah, so what else? Wait, let me just see the slides where we're going next time. By the way, what are the things that we are talking? Is it making sense? Does it make sense to you guys? What are you trying to do here? Or is it too boring or because I would agree with you if you say so. US politics fastest thing goes up on it. I'm living first time introduction, I was like, what are they talking about? It's just too complicated. The more you immerse yourself into this, the more you probably will start to deconstruct all the ideas and where all the values are coming from, right?
Can we say we are going through another silent revolution right now?
Yeah, you can say that because if we thought in France that Le Pen is gonna come to the party, right? It was we were it was people, somehow she got beaten, right? It was so sure that France is gonna also have a far right position. Also AFD party in Germany, literally 100% new Nazi party. So all the important countries or the democracies that you can say are increasingly becoming far right or right. By the way, let's talk about moment in time. Let's talk about why Trump won in 2016 election, because that is something to learn as well. What made Trump won in 2016 election, and then he lost his election in 2020, and then he lost his win in election in 2024? The reason these three elections is very important is that has changed the US politics landscape forever. These three elections. We need to, like, if you really need to understand what's happening in US politics, these are the three elections you need to understand to some extent as well. And you can make good argument from these elections as well. Like, this is what happened, this is the outcome. Given that it's true, we can do this right. We do this right. So let's talk about Trump versus Clinton. I guess we were very I'm 8, 9 or like 6, 7, I don't remember. Trump versus Clinton. Do you know why Trump won on Clinton?
Email scam.
Email scam is one of the reasons, yes. What else? I'm going to explain the email experience to you guys, but secondly, what else? Any of you have any guess how Trump beat Clinton? Clinton is established democratic candidate. Trump into anti-establishment. Do you guys know what the word means, anti-establishment? Someone who has not spent his lifetime on politics or doing something established now, outside, right? For example, I politics kori na Bangladesh. Jodi ami just election run kori, then I will be anti-establishment. Established now. Trump was also anti-establishment, right? That is one of the key things that you need to know, because that was something that he was preaching in his rallies, that people who are in both, there is a concept called deep state that he preaches all the time. It happens even more now. That's the first time that he did that. Deep state. So the idea is essentially deep state is there are a couple of people in Washington, a group of people who control our country from Washington. We need to break the deep state. And these deep states are Hillary Clinton or like all the established Democrats or like etc. That is what we call deep state. So what his idea was that I am someone who came from business background. Also, he went to University of Pennsylvania. By the way, wait, this is very interesting. This recent CEO got killed. He's a graduate from Pennsylvania as well. University of Pennsylvania, it's an Ivy League school. Trump also went to Wharton School of Business, right? It's a business graduate school of University of Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy League school. Interesting things, right? Yeah, given that it's true, what I was saying, that is what is his charisma. That's something that we need to learn about politics as well. People who have that way of talking, people who could be persuasive. Because most of the people are dumb. Average individuals are dumb, by the way. I don't know if you guys get it. Average, if you talk, Bangladesh, you check a you the American you feel the same people. They are just American ways of Bangladesh. Like I remember when asking to a question, like I was to this international conference, it was a writer's program. So one of the person who was there he's a professor in University of Toronto, right? So I asked him, sir, how does it feel like to teach people from University of Toronto, one of the best schools in the world? How are the students are there? And he replies to me, exactly as dumb as you guys are. And that is true. And that he's talking about the University of Toronto University. So you can imagine how average individuals are, right? So so that is something that's true for as a whole, right? So one of those things was anti-establishment, populist message that how he has been able to appeal to most people by saying things like "Make America Great Again." What does this imply, by the way? Can anyone say what does this narrative imply? Make America Great Again. Again, I didn't get it. Actually, yeah.
To bring America back from there when SIDC
right? It means that America used to be great. It's not great anymore. Do you see the problem with that? It's such a God complex, right? It's such a God complex. Like the way all the gods talk about themselves, like we are the best of best. Every other thing is secondary, right? This type of populist message that made Trump is also very, like a lot of the people, especially this is very important, independent voters, swing states he was able to capture the most, because American election most of the cases get determined by swing states, because red states gonna vote for Republican as well, Democrats gonna, like blue states gonna vote for Democrats as well. That co-determining factor then comes into swing states. He was able to swing to states, two very important swing states, right? 2 and 3 probably. Lastly, Clinton's হচ্ছে একটা email controversy ছিল. That is like one of the reasons that he won. Email controversy টা এরকম ছিল যে হচ্ছে Hillary Clinton sent some emails to a foreign like হচ্ছে country's সাথে and ওটা leak হয়ে গেছিল. You guys can know a lot more about this. These are very interesting things if you are really into that. That made Clinton's image really bad. And lastly হচ্ছে তোমরা কি Cambridge Analytica স্ক্যান্ডালের কথা মনে আছে? Cambridge Analytica scandal. So basically what Cambridge Analytica scandal is, Cambridge Analytica হচ্ছে একটা company from UK, right? Donald Trump paid a lot shit ton of money to like directly propagate propaganda against Hillary Clinton in one sense. And সে হচ্ছে Facebook থেকে 70 মিলিয়নের মতো মানুষের ডেটা কালেক্ট করছিল, ওপেন সোর্স থেকে কালেক্ট করছিল probably. I'm not sure একদম geeky details আমার মনে নেই, but it was probably 70 million American profile, Facebook profile থেকে data collect করে he used some specific political advertisement on Facebook, and that is one of the reasons that we think that Trump won the 2016 election. Then why Trump lost the 2020 election? By the way, আমি যে একটু আগে যে স্লাইড করার কথা বললাম যে মানে why he win that election, you can talk about like make different arguments from there depending on what type of debate you are doing. Anti-establishment একটা হইতে পারে, populist narrative একটা হইতে পারে, right? You can say that how like social media influences election results as well, right? These are the things that you need to understand a lot.
Brexit is also reliable.
Brexit
is also responsible for social media attacks.
Brexit is an interesting thing to talk about. Brexit in a conversation we have to talk about some other day. But Brexit ki social media reason, I am not sure, but I think that Brexit like I mean people, English people that to swear word is English people that share conversation were difficult. Bhalo is Brexit was I think. Whatever happening in UK right now, I am 100% happy about that. Economical situation in UK is very dire. I am happy about that. Let's continue. Also Brexit was like direct popular vote. Like David Cameron direct resign করে বলছে পপুলার ভোট দাও, let's see people what's it Brexit হবে নাকি হবে না, people gave Brexit হবে, Brexit happened. And we had a lot of debate about Brexit by the way, huge debate, মানে debate না তোমরা conversation করতেছো টাইম, competitive debating of Brexit was like a hot topic at that time, right? Yeah, so why Trump lost the election, that 2020 election? One of the reasons is mishandling COVID-19 pandemic. People were really like frustrated the way he handled COVID-19 pandemic, right? People did not like that. People felt like COVID-19 was like a pandemic. He was joking. He said some of the worst thing I have seen in a public global like humanitarian crisis. If you like listen to Trump's things, he was saying that get some shot from which are not even prescribed by doctors, had a lot of research like problems, like researchers didn't even have enough time to research all of those things, and he was prescribing those things on literally American podium at RIS. Very crazy. Secondary thing is like a broad coalition of suburban voters, minorities and women united against Trump. You guys remember the Black Lives Movement matter? George Floyd. Police brutality was going out of control at this time as well. And that is something you need to know. By the way, one thing we need to know. Republicans are into a defund police channel. They want strict police. Democrats are but liberals are but militarization of police is not a good thing. Why do you need military graded equipment for police? police are not military. There is a difference between paramilitary forces, military, and police, right? But Republicans are very police friendly. So there was a broad coalition of voters, like from women, black, and like minority communities, that we need to beat Trump, and that is one of the reasons he was being able to beat at that time George Floyd jail, or the horrific scene that we are seeing in George Floyd, right? And then anyone brought Trump sentiment. All of those things combined cumulatively gave rise to a statement that anyone but Trump, we cannot bear another Trump's presidency. This thing, and one thing that you need to, that's a very good argument that you can make. 2020, right? Every one of us, like including me, who believes in progressive policy or like liberal policies, left policy, we were saying that why did Democratic Party chose Biden over Bernie Sanders? Do you guys know Bernie Sanders anymore? Why did Democrats choose Biden? Bernie Sanders chose the teammate. I have a teammate that I did finals in BRAC Open, right? He said one thing, that because some US elections for me, I'm very interested. So US election, I follow it very extensively. So he said something like, Bernie Sanders appeal. It appeals to most of the young people, progressive people. It doesn't appeal to everyone in US. So Bernie Sanders to the Democratic Party elect directly means the election is lost. And that is true. Reason is Biden's positioning himself as a unifier and a centrist. We were talking about far right and right? And right now we talked about left, right, as well. There is something called centrist people. Centrist people are like, maybe on both sides, right? They are like, okay, we are going to take some policies from right, some policies from left, and they are going to be like kind of negotiator to some extent, have some good relationship with Republican Party as well. Biden positions himself as a unifier, a centrist. He's like, no more polarizing policy, no more divide and conquer, let's just come to one as in America, let's just do one thing. And secondarily, also Democratic Party, I think what they have thought, Nancy Pelosi and all the big Democrat schools, they thought Biden also had interpersonal relationship with Republican parties to get things done in Senate as well. He had those appeal. So one of the things that you need to know about when you're making debate or making argument about a debate, that you can just say that, look, this person have tendency to be left. And we all know from 3 elections that being left doesn't work. You need someone who is in centrist. This policy of this person won't work. Let's not vouch for this person. So centrist or center is something that we need to do right now. Another counter argument could be made, or it's opposition counter argument as look, what you are talking about is strictly 2022, but right now is 2024, where world has swiftly shifted towards right. Which means people who are in centrist, and if you try to elect someone who says would not work, he will not win election. So you need to vouch for someone who is in right, probably far right as well, in order for you to win election. And that is something we are seeing as well. Democratic Party is arobeshi right in shift with us. Because being left, being centrist is not even working. So now let's come down to why Trump won 2024 election. Trump versus Harris. What do you guys think? Why? We are all in university, and something that affects our life as well. In Argentina, we were not university, we were probably school, college, US politics. What is that? I don't need to know. I did not use any swear word. I did not. President Obama in Alif uses any swear words, right? She's wholly responsible for that one action. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Why Trump won the 2024 election? Any opinion? Yeah, I think
one of the big reasons could be that Harris herself isn't that popular, even among the traditional schools of people who go for the Democratic Party. I think Mexicans, Spanish people, Arabs are people that because they want the Democrats that don't know check on Palestine.
Yes, he gave a couple of reasons. What else do you guys think?
She did not have the trust of her
Action, yes, you go.
She did not have the trust of her own voter base.
interesting idea. That's a good point. Intervention in policy. Do you guys know what does it mean? Intervention in policy means.
As in like corporations are কাজ করতে আরো বেশি intervene করে government.
That's one way to think about intervention in policy. Now, but he's specifically talking about foreign policy. US being interventionist in other countries. Do you guys know what that means? So, US had a tendency in pre-Trump era to be a global police where they will just kind of like intervene into other countries, like literally invade kore felle. Afghanistan, Iraq, direct US involvement. ওগুলা বাদ দিলে ওই আফগানিস্তান ইরাক বাদ দিয়ে যদি দাও যখন হচ্ছে কি বলে 1970 থেকে 80 যখন সোভিয়েত আর ইউএস এর মধ্যে যে প্রক্সি কনফ্লিক্ট প্রক্সি ওয়ার যে জিনিসটা চলতেছিল ইউএস হ্যাড a lot of involvement in so many countries এটাকে বলে ইন্টারভেনশনিস্ট পলিসি if you look at Trump is very straightforward আমি কোন জায়গায় ইন্টারভিউ করব ওয়ার্ল্ড মরে গেলে মরে যাবে আমার ইন্টারভেনশন দরকার নেই we will not spend one military equipment or like dollar in so far it doesn't benefit me শেষ straightforward কথা যখন হচ্ছে স্পেসিফিক্যালি আমি যখন বলি আফগানিস্তান থেকে যখন ইউএস উইথড্র করতেছিল বাইডেন অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশনের ফার্স্ট ইয়ারে তোমরা যদি এই সময় ট্রাম্পের কনভারসেশনগুলো শুনো ইট ওয়াজ সামথিং লাইক হচ্ছে Biden had a spectacular failure for Afghanistani people, but Biden didn't do anything in the first place. He was also gonna pull out from Afghanistan, but the way he shifted this blame to Biden, and Biden had to take it. It's happened in his administration. The same happened in COVID-19. COVID-19 did not happen by Trump, but the fact that it happened during his administration, the blame goes to Trump to some extent as well. Right? So that is one of the reasons that interventionist policy, foreign policy, democratic parties to some extent intervention, right? But if I have to go about consecutively from one, economic concerns under the Biden-Harris administration. So what happens is that Kamala Harris is the vice presidential, and it's Biden under, right? People, and I think it's a very reasonable criticism. Kamala, whenever they ask Kamala, like, how is your administration gonna be different than Biden administration? She had no unique answer to that. She mostly we answer question to maybe take a set, but no direct answer, which means that she did not even criticize Biden. To some extent, probably people will she's criticizing. She was like playing very safe. She was like, we did everything right, we did everything good, we did whatever we could have done, we'll do even more. But what is exactly? What is the appeal? What is the one line that you're telling the voter that we are going to be different than this specific instance? No such message was there, right? Secondarily, border. Border is like a huge tension in the US right now. I think. Here's the thing. Whatever you listen about border is both true and false at the same time. Far right try to বেশি exaggerate, but there is a problem in border in US, especially US US Mexico border যেটা টেক্সাসের সাথে it's a problem, but ওরা এটাকে খুব বেশি exaggerate করে. Like so what happened is that Trump তখন Biden administration আসার পরে Trump ওর র্যালিগুলোতে বলতেছিল যে হচ্ছে people are coming and taking our jobs. They are taking our jobs. They are ruining our country. From Mexico, from all the other Mexico হচ্ছে Trump America's সাথে border তো a lot of the people also visit Mexico just to enter US. That is true. That is to some extent true. Haiti, you guys know Haiti, the country Haiti. Haiti তো তখন একটা মারাত্মক সিচুয়েশন চলতেছিল. So a lot of the people immigrants were coming from Haiti as well. And Haiti কে ভালোভাবে villainize করছে Trump, like to a good extent, right? এই প্রবলেমটা সলভ করতে দেওয়া হয়েছিল বাইডেন অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশনের মধ্যে স্পেসিফিক্যালি কামালা হ্যারিসকে বলা হয়েছিল সলভ দিস স্পেসিফিক প্রবলেম border problem. Harris did some job but did not do a good job to solve this problem. Voter doesn't think at least. Empirically, a lot of things, they think that we are talking about politics and narrative. Maybe she did a good job, but voters don't think that she did a good job or great job. And they blame her for it. So that is one of the reasons. Border. Or like immigration as a whole. Effective lying, I think. That is something that we need, like effective lying. Do you guys know the word post-truth or alternative fact? I had a debate, I remember. This was supposed to post-truth or alternative fact world. So this, what does this mean? It I posted always. It's like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So what essentially means, like, politicians have the ability to change the truth. Effective truth ke mitha banai the ability politicians that us. They all the time they do that. Alternative facts. This is one fact. People are dying. They can just say people are dying not because of this. People are dying because of another thing. That is what we call alternative.